Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another 2024 election prediction. This time we're doing the 2024 House map, and we have a few updates to go over for the month of March 2024. Starting off with my home state of New York, the Democrats have pretty much unveiled their new congressional map, so we could fill in here. I feel like they missed a pretty big opportunity for them to gerrymander the state. They could have drawn a 22 to 4 New York map. They could have had 22 Democrats. Instead, they only drew a 20 to 6 map. So they only have 20 Democrats and 6 Republicans in the latest map. But I don't think that's going to be the margin here. So moving on to this map, they pretty much missed the opportunity to gerrymander Staten Island here. It's going to be a safe Republican district now. Andrew Garbarino, it's a narrow Trump district, but it's going to be safe Republican. He's a very popular incumbent here. Leilota. It's a narrow Trump district now. So they actually drew the old 21 Democratic to 5 Republican map. They actually made Leilota's seat a narrow Biden seat to a narrow Trump seat. So I don't know what New York Democrats are doing. It feels like they really missed the opportunity here, but maybe they're just pretty much writing off Eastern Long Island as a potential flip at this point. They just see the writing on the wall that it's pretty much gone. Like Suffolk County is just going to be pretty much very Republican in 2024, which I could see probably going by like Trump plus 9 or something in Suffolk County, something like that. So I have this as a likely Republican district. Honestly, there's potential for it to be safe Republican. But so far, it's only like a Trump plus 1 district. Leilota isn't as popular as Garbarino is. Moving on to New York's third, they made this seat a lot more Democratic. So I have this as a likely blue district. And we also have an incumbent House rep here in Swazi. So he's easily going to win re-election here again. He's a fairly strong candidate. I really don't think he's going to be competitive. Anthony D'Esposito, he endorsed Trump, and I think that's going to definitely hurt him in a D plus 14 district. This really remains unchanged from the old map. I think this is going to be likely blue. I don't think he's going to end up winning here. I think he's going to get wiped out in the House election. Probably the most likely GOP House rep to get wiped out here. Moving on to the 18th district, Pat Ryan, they made this a bit more Democratic, so I have this as a likely blue district. The 22nd, they made this district a lot more Democratic. It's D plus 11 now. It used to be D plus 7. So honestly, this has potentially to be a likely blue, but for now, it is upstate New York. It is pretty unpredictable up here. They usually likely keep their incumbents, but Williams, he's not acting super moderate in Congress. So I have this as a lean blue flip, potential of going likely blue even. The 17th and 19th are going to be probably the most competitive districts. Lawler actually has a fairly decent chance. I'd probably put it as a 40% chance of right now, but it is a D plus 10 district, which is why he is only at 40%, or a 40% chance at winning, not 40% of the vote. I think this is going to be a fairly narrow D plus 2 victory so far in this race. I just don't see him overcoming that 10% margin. It's pretty tough to hold on here. However, Molinaro, he has a much easier path. It actually shifted from a D plus 4.6 district to D plus 4.4. So they actually made this district a bit more Republican in the redraw. So I think Molinaro could probably end up holding on here just narrowly. Again, Riley is facing him again in this election, so it is a rematch from last time, and he really made it a close race, but I still have this as a Republican hold. So Democrats end up flipping New York's 4th, New York 17, and New York 22 in the state. So 3 flips. Okay, let's go to the zoom in out here. Okay, now we can get into the more competitive races. So starting off with Maine's 2nd, Jared Golden, he's a blue dog Democrat. Most recent approval polls here show Jared Golden pretty much having a pretty solid approval rating. So I think this is still a lean blue race, even with Jared Gold coming out and wanting to ban assault weapons. Probably is going to slightly hurt him here, which is why it isn't likely blue. Moving on to Alaska at large. As long as it's ranked choice voting still, which I know there's a procedure to try to repeal that in Alaska. As long as it's ranked choice voting, it is likely blue. However, they remove ranked choice voting by the time of the election. I'll put this down to lean blue. I still think she ends up winning here. She has a very good approval rating in the state of Alaska. So I think she's going to be in Congress for a while. So I have this as a likely blue race, as long as ranked choice voting is still a thing here, which I think it will be. And I think voters will keep it on the referendum still. I think they I don't think it's going to get repealed. Okay, which states do we go to? I guess we could go to Montana's first, which I think will be a fairly competitive district, but it's still a very Trump district after all. Nevada's third district. Democrats did a very solid job in doing a gerrymander here in Nevada. They lost the House vote in Nevada by, I think, a pretty decent amount, but they still ended up winning 3 out of the 4 seats here. So I think this will be one of the more competitive seats in Nevada, probably down to a lean blue margin or so. In about New Mexico's second, we're having a rematch here, but Vasquez has an incumbency advantage, so I have this as a lean blue district. Moving on to the state of Colorado, we have 2 competitive districts here. We have a retirement in the 5th district, the Lamborn, so I have this likely R. 8th district, incumbent Democrats probably going to end up holding on here. Colorado's 3rd, Lauren Boebert probably would have ended up losing this district if she's still running here. But for now, I'd probably have this as a lean GOP hold because she isn't running here, and it's still a very Republican district. But it isn't a Democratic trending district as well, so that's why it's only lean R, not likely. And we do have a good Democratic candidate running in that race too. So moving on to California, we have a bunch of competitive seats here. Starting off with Ken Calvert, he's in for another competitive race. I'm pretty sure Will Rollins is running against him again. He barely won last time, but I think he's going to barely win again just due to incumbency advantage. Moving on to the 13th and 22nd districts, I think these are both lean blue flips. They're in very Democratic districts. D plus 11, D plus 13. I don't think Valadeo and Duterte are going to win. There was very low Latino turnout back in California in 2022, so they barely won last time. Garcia, it was also a very low turnout election. He's up against the same opponent for like the 3rd time in a row again, I'm pretty sure. Now we have a new Democratic opponent running against Mike Garcia. So it's going to be a more competitive race than likely Republican. Probably going to be one of the more competitive races, I would say. But I still think Garcia is going to hold on just due to incumbency advantage. And he just knows how to win an election here. I think he's going to manage to barely hold on in the state. But I wouldn't be surprised if he lost, but I think he's the narrow favorite there. Moving on to Oregon, I put a few of these seats as just safe Democratic. I wouldn't really rank them as likely blue anymore, considering Biden won these seats by over 10, so I don't really think they're going to go down to likely. The 5th district, however, I think it's going to be a narrow Democratic flip. So far, it looks like the same Democrats running again, but there's going to be higher Democratic turnout in the 2024 election than there was last time. So I think Democrats are going to be able to manage to pretty much vote out Lori Chavez DeRimmer in the next election in Oregon. Moving to Washington, we have another rematch between Joe Kent and Marie Perez, and Kent is the worst candidate Republicans can nominate. They're making a huge mistake here in a narrow Trump district. So, again, and Marie Perez is a blue dog Democrat like Mary Patola and Jared Golden, and I think the blue dogs are going to end up narrowly winning the seat again, just because Republicans are pretty much refusing to nominate someone else that isn't less toxic in the district. Moving on to Arizona, we have 2 competitive House seats here. Cisco Maney, it's in a very narrow Biden district. I think incumbency advantage is going to help him out a lot here in winning this race. In the 1st district, however, Swihart, I think he's going to end up losing. It is a closer, well, not closer Biden district. It's Biden 1.5. So far, I think Biden's going to narrowly carry Arizona, and they'll probably carry Democrats to victory here. Swihart barely ended up winning last time, surprisingly. So I have this as a narrow Biden or narrow Democratic flip. Let's see here. Nebraska second with Don Bacon. He's a more moderate GOP House rep. He needs to be moderate. Ended up winning in this likely blue district. But with Biden probably ended up winning this district. There has to be a lot of ticket splitters here, but I think he could manage to pull out a narrow victory. I think he's doing actually fairly decent with fundraising, but he is running against that same strong Democrat who nearly unseated him almost unexpectedly last time around in 2022. It'll be a competitive race, but I still think Bacon narrowly ends up holding on. Zach Nunn, I have this as a lean R race. I really don't think it's going to be that competitive. And we're not really having a rematch with that former Democratic House rep running for her seat. In North Carolina's first, it's a narrow Biden district. I still think Democrats are going to end up winning here. I think they'll get good black turnout in this district to end up winning this seat. Moving on to Virginia. With the 2nd district, Jen Kiggin, she does have incumbency advantage. It is a narrow Biden district. Her incumbency advantage will definitely help out the GOP House rep here. So I have this as a lean R hold. Spanberger seat, she is retiring to run for governor. I think it'll be a lean blue seat. It'll be fairly competitive instead of likely blue. Wexton, she pretty much has a fatal illness, and that's why she's not seeking to run for re-election. She sadly, it's a pretty serious condition she has so far. But for now, I have this as a likely blue race. Actually, I might even put it to safe blue, considering Biden won this by 18 points. So I think the Democrats probably would end up winning here by a safe blue margin, honestly, now that I'm looking at the numbers here. All right, the next few races. Let's take a look. We have Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania, New Jersey. That one district in New Jersey, it's a narrow Biden district, but Keem, he has family legacy in this state of New Jersey, so I think he's going to end up holding on to that seat here. So it's a GOP hold. Going into Pennsylvania, we have a few competitive House seats here, but I think Democrats are kind of favored in both of them. I think Cartwright will be able to narrowly hold on here, but he's biding his time. It's a trending Republican district. He's only going to have a few more victories left in him, but I think he's going to pull off a narrow win again like he did in 2022. Susan Wild, I also think she's going to narrowly end up winning this district as well. Let's see here. We have Ohio's seats up next. The 13th, the 9th district. The 9th district, we have J.R. Majewski running again. He's a terrible candidate. Captor's probably going to easily beat him like last time, lean blue. Could even go to likely blue, honestly, if it is J.R. Majewski is the nominee. 13th district will be fairly competitive. Again, Trump, I think he's going to win Ohio by 10, so that's going to have a slight down ballot effect in Ohio. But I think Sykes is going to narrowly pull off that victory due to incumbency advantage. Moving on to the state of Michigan, we have the 7th and 8th district. Again, the 7th district is only a narrow Biden district, and so far Republicans are doing pretty good in the presidential race so far, with Trump leading in most of the polls in Michigan. So I think it'll be a slight down battle effect here, and I think Republicans narrowly win this seat. 8th district will be pretty competitive. It is an open seat as of right now, but I think Democrats are going to manage to hold on to that seat. So if we take a look at the whole map, we have 219 Democrats to 216 Republicans. Honestly, Republicans, they're not out of winning the House. They definitely have a path to doing it. But so far, it's just these blue dog Democrats that are helping Democrats hold the House majority. Mary Patola, Marie Perez, Jared Golden, they're the reason that the House majority, they have a pretty good path to it still. But other than that, there's also potential that, before I end this video, there's also potential that Wisconsin could get redrawn in time, or redrawn in time. There's a small window of opportunity there. So far, Tony Evers wants them to redraw the congressional map beforehand. So that's something to keep an eye on as a potential redraw opportunity for Democrats. They could net 2 Democratic seats here by making Brian Steele's district likely blue, or lean blue at least, and making Wisconsin 3rd likely or lean blue. That's a potential. But so far, I think it's going to be 219 to 216, barring any other map redraws. Other than that, thanks so much for watching this video. I'll see y'all in the next one. Especially if you're new to this channel, I highly recommend subscribing. If you want to leave a comment down below, feel free to do so. Tell me if you disagree or agree with this prediction. Other than that, thanks so much for watching. I'll see y'all in the next one.